It's Dr. Amar. How are you doing?
Hello.
I'm here with Dr. Zoda. We're going to talk about the top five ways to make profitable passive income. So, tell me about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a ER doc, and I'm mostly based in Hong Kong. And since COVID, I was just working 80 to 100-hour work weeks, feeling burnt out, and almost like reconsidering my path to medicine. And at the time, I was looking for other ways in which I could supplement and potentially replace my clinical income. And so I started looking online. And at first, had a few businesses, didn't really work out, but eventually I stumbled upon starting sharing my expertise online. And now I pride myself on helping other busy doctors share their expertise online and make wildly profitable passive income.
That's wonderful. Thank you for taking your time with us and sharing your knowledge. And tell us about just the different ways that passive income could be generated by physicians, especially using or even without using their degrees.
Sure. So there's I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the classic passive income sources like stock markets, real estate, but the problem with those is that you don't really control them, and it's we've all seen what it was like over the last few months. The market was super volatile, and even if you were to invest in real estate, um, it's not something you control, and at the same time, you also need a lot of starting capital to start. And so initially I didn't really have that much starting capital, and so I was looking for another way in which I could generate passive income. And so I stumbled upon the way of starting an online course where you can share your own expertise online. And believe it or not, there's not a lot of overhead and there's not a lot of complexity. And when it comes to different ways in which people can monetize their own expertise, different ways in which they could package their clinical expertise online, the opportunities are really endless. So I've helped clients, I've helped other doctors start non clinical online courses, such as teaching other people how to do real estate. But I've also helped medical students start online course on how to improve exam performance by using cognitive behavior therapy. And so there's definitely different streams. It doesn't have to always be clinical, and it doesn't always have to be non-clinical. The great thing about doctors is that we are already considered experts, even though sometimes we might not feel like it. To the outside world, we are already considered experts. In our day to day, our job is mostly to solve people's problems. And if we can package that expertise and sell it online, then I think this could be a very lucrative opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's great. I know definitely of other professions, individuals who aren't physicians who are generating courses online, depending on what their expertise may be. Maybe they took an online class and they decided to use that knowledge to help others. Um, so what exactly inspired you? I know you said you had some other businesses that didn't quite work out. What were certain like lessons or certain things that you learned from your prior businesses that didn't work in order to implement it towards your current business?
That's a great question. So, initially, when I first started out, I was doing e commerce, and that involved selling your own physical products. And the biggest lesson that I learned there was that physical products simply don't scale. So, when it comes to a business, you have a um, when it comes to a business, let's say you're selling a physical product, especially during COVID, there's a lot of shipping times, shipping fees, which leads to a lot of customer complaints, customer emails, and I was stressing myself out just trying to manage this business. Not to mention, with physical products, the profit margins are very small, and I was just stressing out. And eventually, I decided to sell that business to a friend. It was actually profitable, but it was just too much hassle, so I just sold it to a friend. And so when I realized that actually selling digital products is a much better way because you only have to build it once and you can sell it an infinite amount of times. So if you build an online course, you only have to record yourself in front of a whiteboard, in front of a blackboard explaining something, or in front of a PowerPoint slide, you only have to record it once, but you could distribute it to an infinite amount of times while you're awake, while you're asleep, and it's continuously making you money, regardless of the circumstance. So that's what really drew me into digital products. But when it comes to the second business that I started, it was on digital marketing. Now, uh, digital marketing, for those that aren't familiar, is basically learning how to advertise on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and so on. And even though that business didn't really work out the way I wanted to because the market is very saturated, it gave me the essential skills that I now have to help my clients in order to help them get more students and help them package their expertise and sell it online on multiple platforms.
Oh, that's great. How long have you been doing, with your current business? How long have you been, at it, and then, just building it up from there? And how long did it take for you to, start from scratch to where you are?
So my current business didn't really become official until very recently, in the past few months. But I've been helping different clients essentially sell their online courses. So before I even worked on doctors specifically, I was actually helping other people in e-commerce niches, in digital marketing niches, on selling their online course. But again, because it was a very saturated market, and I kind of want to go back to my own roots as a doctor and help my own people, I realized there's a huge opportunity that where I can actually help doctors package their expertise. So one of the recent clients that we actually took on is a University of Pennsylvania professor, and his work is on the cutting edge research on the treatment of epilepsy. Right, this is someone who has spent their life's work finding the treatment of epilepsy. That being said, his work could actually change, and his work is actually life and death. It could really impact the lives of millions of people. That being said, he didn't really have a way to package his expertise and sell it online, and because of this, we are potentially looking at someone's the next treatment for epilepsy, which is trapped inside the mind of this professor instead of being packaged and distributed online. And so I was able to bridge that gap, and now I'm actually working with him to bring his online course to life.
Well, that's awesome. Um, for a busy physician, uh, how long, like, how much time does one need to devote towards, starting up their course, the process, whether it's recording, typing out material, and then obviously there's marketing behind that too. So, I've read where some folks have a strategy where, you want to first build value
Mm.
and then you share your product. And then some folks say, well, no, just go ahead and share your product and, kind of like beta test it. And then from there, you can, generate, a list of clients who buy into it. And then after they get the products, and then they take feedback and then basically expand it from there. So, in terms of those strategies, like, what do you recommend? And, starting off first question, from a physician standpoint, we all have busy schedules. Where do you find the time, and how much time does it take to kind of get things, up and running?
Okay, so I'll answer the second question first. So when it comes to actually doing the beta test and alpha test and all of that, like setting up all the webinar, a lot of physicians simply don't have that time, right? So I'll answer the first question, which was when I first got started, I was already working 80 to 100-hour work weeks during COVID, and especially working irregular night shifts. I was on the verge of burnout, and but I was still able to build this online course on the side on the weekend. And keep in mind, this was coming from somebody that didn't really have a proven process to follow. I didn't have a mentor. I had zero business experience. I had zero marketing experience. But I just had to piece together everything that I've discovered and learned either by my own in order to build out an online course completely from scratch. And it took me 1 month to launch my first online course, and it was really just working on the weekends in a few hours. But now, like, to be honest, like my current program, the majority, 80 to 90% of the content was actually built during that 1 month. If anything, I actually removed more content in order to simplify the process so that anyone can actually repeat it and get success.
Okay, great. And then you just pretty much created your thing, and then did you were you kind of like building up your social media, your presence along the way, or was it something where you just kind of unleashed your products and then kind of took the feedback and then you know kind of went from there?
Okay, that's a good question. So a lot of people, they might get intimidated when they, especially they see all the young kids these days posting on Instagram and Facebook, and now recently there's TikTok. It could be very overwhelming, right? But we teach you, or actually, my method doesn't really involve any of that. I didn't start with any social media following. I I have like 800 people on Instagram, but they were just my close friends. So I didn't really have a large audience. So that so having an audience is not required in order to have a successful online course business.
Okay, well that's great to know because I think a lot of people are intimidated by the fact that you see these social media influencers or these teachers, where they have like thousands, like hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, and you're a physician who's busy, has no experience, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well I think I might want to do this, but who am I, in the social media world, to be able to go out and just like, sell something. So
Mm.
I think that's really reassuring. I appreciate you, kind of giving your advice in regards to that. Um, so what else? So you basically have created this course. You do it. You have this video session, and everything. What else have you been doing along the way to you know to like further your business along, like in terms of scaling? What is your approach with regards to scaling, a business once you have it up and running?
Okay, so that's a good question, but one thing that I really want to stress is that at the moment, especially, I much prefer to have a very strong and I much prefer to work very closely with my clients because that's the only way I can ensure that they will actually get results. And one of the problems when it comes to people with scaling is that, oh, they would grow really fast. Their profit margins, their profit would actually go up. But then the more and more they scale and the faster and faster they scale, then I feel like the clients get kind of detached away from the face of the company, if you will. And sometimes even when I go on the calls with my clients, they're really surprised because it's very rare these days when you could pick up a phone and suddenly you find that the head of the face of the company is actually speaking with you on the opposite end. And that's something that I really don't want to lose touch with, especially since I'm so early on in my own journey. Um, and that's that's something that I really hold dear, right, especially my relationships with with my clients. That being said, when it comes to scaling, I do plan to grow this business, and we do plan to make our first few hires in starting next month and early 2021, and we are announcing our next cohort starting next month, and our prices are going to rise ever since then. So that's
Okay.
my approach to scaling.
Oh, that's great. So what are some examples of courses that you have like that can be done?
Sure,
There's a question from one of the members in the group about that.
sure. So the opportunities are really endless, and I don't just say that. I actually mean it with a lot of case examples. Would you like me to share my screen?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Could you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, great. So what we do is we help busy doctors leverage their clinical expertise with the power of the internet to make massive impact and massive income. And one of the best clients I'll go through a few of our best examples. So, um, so this is Natalia. She is an anesthesiologist, and when we first started working together, she was already investing in real estate. That being said, once we started working together a few months in, she just hit her 75K month recently in September, and this, and she calls this a better investment than real estate because it's less work and she actually owns and controls all the profits, right? This is a real business that she can put her name on and be proud of. And for every $1 that she puts in, she makes over $7 back, right? And this is the power of the internet uh, using the methods that I talk about. So this is an example of someone who is a physician, but teaching a course on teaching a non-clinical course on real estate, right? And then we have another example. So this is Jackson. He is a surgical resident and one of the first clients that I worked with. And one of the problems was that he just didn't really have the time, right? As a surgical resident, I don't know if we have a lot of surgeons within our community, right? Probably too busy to to come on to watch this session. But he was getting burnt out, overworked, especially during COVID, and so this really challenged me because I had to really simplify my process down into a very step by step and repeatable process. And when we first started working together, he didn't really have an idea on what he could teach. He just didn't he considered himself an expert, but he just didn't know how to find the right idea. So we sat down, we started working together, and using my simple system, we were able to help him launch his online course in just the first week. And now he's teaching other physicians on how to network effectively in conferences.
That's great.
And this is the best example. This is Tommy. He is a eye surgeon. So this is an example of someone that's teaching something that's clinical. Okay, so this is Tommy. He was already doing LASIK operations every single morning, and LASIK surgeries are not cheap, right? They're $2 grand a pop, and if he does 10 of them in a single morning, that's 20 grand in a single morning. But Tommy was a very generous guy. He was already giving up a lot of his time teaching for free at different universities at different conferences. But this was just one-on-one group teaching. And the problem with this is that this does not scale because it has a one-to-one relationship with human time. It's just math. But by productizing his services, he's now able to reach a global audience of international ophthalmologists and actually teach his methods to a larger group of people and extend his international and global reach. And now he's actually earning more with his online course than he did as a 20 grand a day LASIK surgeon, which is absolutely crazy. And here are just some of his results. Yeah.
Amazing.
So these are some of the better examples of the results that I've helped my clients achieve, and yeah, I'm very proud of their success, and I can't wait to see where they start growing.
Okay. Does anyone else in the group have any questions? Any other questions for Dr. Zoda? Okay. Yep. So, Dr. Zoda, yes. So there is a link for the business and the website, and we will be posting that at the end of this session. So do you have anything else, Dr. Zoda, with regards to, your business or, just in general? Like, I know mindset tends to be a huge thing. People oftentimes get scared or they have, just this fear of, okay, well, I don't know really how to kind of start from here, and they just kind of get in their head. So, what general advice, would you provide for the members of the group, for those who are sitting there, watching it, or maybe on a replay, they'll watch it, and, they're burnt out, they're tired, they clearly want to, out, or at least a way to potentially go part-time, but they're scared, or they're just not quite there in terms of how do I get started?
Sure. So I think people actually acknowledge that most of the a lot of doctors are already moving online, whether it's entrepreneurs who want to spend more time with their family and less time at the hospital, whether it's academics who want more ownership of their professional success, whether it's other doctors who want just more to improve their healthcare advocacy campaigns, and so on and so forth. So people realize that there is an urgent need, but what holds most people back, I found, is that there's no time, there's no money, and they're scared for whatever reason, or they might not feel like monetizing for your services is something that's it feels kind of yucky, especially the word sales. So I'm going to go through these one by one. So with time, first of all, again, using my own example, I built my online course in 1 month using only my weekends while working 80, 100-hour work weeks. Jackson, the surgical resident I just showed you, we were able to simplify his course and launch it in the first week. So it's completely doable. And to be realistic, it requires around a few hours each week, but it pays off dividends down the line. When it comes to no money, using my methods, I teach you how to launch your first online course in the first 4 weeks without spending a single dollar. And this is just using free software like Google Slides, like free recording software, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. And finally, when it comes to the limiting beliefs behind monetizing for your services, I think that it's as doctors, we just want to help people. And at the end of the day, consider doctors to just be people that solve problems, right? A patient comes into your clinic, you are there to solve their problem. And if you are able to offer a solution that can actually improve their lives, improve their health, they're more than willing to actually pay for your services. So when it comes to the word sales or selling your online course, I totally understand why people might feel like it's a bit yucky. They start thinking of people from Wolf of Wall Street, like a bunch of bullies pumping their chests and shouting at you at the phone and trying to shove things down your throat. That's just not the case, because if you are offering something of value, you are giving an option for your potential student to make an informed decision on whether they want to be a part of it or not. So those are the three most common things that hold most people back. And I'd say that the most important thing is just to get started, right? If you're interested, if you're listening to this and if you're interested, just learn a bit more about what the space could actually entail, because the online education industry is estimated to hit $350 billion by this year. And COVID has just accelerated that, because there's people like you and me sitting at our home on our desk making this type of money. And so I think just get started. Don't let these things hold you back. At least explore a little and see if this is the right fit for you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I'm probably one of the least tech savvy individuals out there, relative to my peers. And I created a Facebook group actually, and that was the first time. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Obviously, along the way, you kind of learn and build, and you take advice and everything. And I think that's the main idea. Is it's all it's a learning process. It's a trial and error. You learn a few things, make some mistakes, you build on that, etc. And I think having a course may actually kind of help launch your business a lot faster than trying to do it on your own. But either way, life is a journey. There's another question. So how tech savvy do you have to be to get going with this?
That's a great question. So when it comes to tech, a lot of the clients that I have, one of the reasons that they're hesitant to even start something is they imagine a bunch of coders designing your own websites. You have to know computer science. You have to hack into the system. Like, there's none of that. We basically, one of the things we really pride ourselves on, especially with our new program, which was just released starting this month, is that we have actually taken all the guesswork outside of the entire process. So when I was first starting out, I had to learn everything from scratch, right? That's why it took me an entire month just to build my online course. But over the years, especially working with, not over the years, over the months, especially working with so many clients, I was able to repeat that process. And so what we did in order to make this journey as simple and as frictionless as possible is that we worked with the best website designers to create plug and play templates for all of our clients so that they don't even have to go through the tech headaches or go through the trouble of installing their own website. They can just download our templates and install it in just a few clicks. Very simple stuff. And second of all, we also have a proven process, a proven sales process of turning strangers into paying students. And we've completely engineered this to work simply and seamlessly. And again, you can just install that in just a few clicks. So we've really tried our best to take away all the tech headaches, to take away all the time and wasted money and frustration in order to make this process as seamless as possible.
That's wonderful. Another question. So if so, one of the questions was if they have no idea, what type of course or the topic of their course would be, would the course itself, or would you be involved in helping brainstorming the possibilities of, the type of course or the topic to teach per se?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of people just don't know where to get started. They see the potential of starting an online course, but they just don't know what they could possibly teach. And this is something that we work on week one, day one in our own program. We help you get crystal clear on finding your idea that is actually monetizable and could actually help people and that people are willing to actually pay for. And we help you grow that into a actual six-figure online course.
Okay. Is there market research that has to be involved as well behind that, or what is your general approach when it comes to something like that? That to basically determine that yes, this topic exactly will sell versus not sell.
Sure. So this is something we call validation in order to test whether an idea actually has market value, whether there's market demand. And we go through our own unique system in week two, which is how to sell your online course. So without getting too much into detail, we basically ask the market for feedback and essentially improve our own offer, improve our own messaging to determine whether this is something that's actually worthy of building.
And how many weeks is your program?
Our program is only 4 weeks.
Okay. And is there ongoing support after those 4 weeks, or is it pretty much done and that's it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the entire program is 4 weeks, but that doesn't mean the entire program is 4 weeks, but it's actually completely self-paced. So all the doctors that sign on to our program, they go through that journey at their own speed, right? And at the same time, our support for you never ends after those 4 weeks, right? We don't just leave you in the wild and fend for yourself, giving you the knowledge and the skills that you need, right? We're with you every step of the way, and we really pride ourselves on our multiple levels of support. So we have weekly Q&A calls where you speak with me directly, and I sit you down, diagnose any issues that you might be facing, and help you devise a strategy in order to move your online course business into the six-figure range. And at the same time, we also have a community of digital doctors where we share our successes and share our resources and help each other along the way of our journey to financial freedom. So on top of that, you also get lifetime access if you sign up starting this month, and yeah, that lifetime access to all future updates as well as any downloadables like website templates, plug and play templates, and all of that.
Okay. And how much does it cost?
This depends. So right now, we are doing a discounted price, but we plan to increase the price starting in our next cohort next month.
Okay. And does anyone else have any questions? All right. Well, do you have anything else that you would like to share with us? I think we're probably approaching towards the end. It's okay. There's a question. Are there different levels to the program?
Okay, what do you mean by that? What
So
do you mean different
I
levels?
think there are courses out there where you have one level, and then some folks will upsell their course and then provide a more intimate level of involvement, etc. So I don't know if that's something
Yeah, that's a great question. And to be honest, I've joined some of those programs myself, and I've always hated having to
Yeah,
go through the program, knowing all of this, but then there's this cliffhanger, and then you're forced to pay for the next episode of this season.
right.
I absolutely hate that. So that's why we don't offer any upsells. It's just this program. We give you everything you need to start an online course, and we leave nothing, no stone unturned.
Okay. And how much one-on-one time do they get with you as well during this course? I know you have the weekly Q&As. I imagine that's a group Q&A. And then, like, how much time do they get specifically with you one-on-one with regards to their own, individual course needs or, business needs?
Sure, that's a good question. So actually, the weekly calls is one on one, right? So a lot of programs they would actually charge you a lot for these one on one coaching consultation programs. But again, like I previously mentioned, I really pride myself on my relationship with my clients, and I really, especially since I'm pretty early on in my own journey, I really want to ensure their success. And I think the best way to do that is to have this intimate and one on one work to work closely together in order to make their business a success. Now, that being said, this is something that these one-on-one calls is something that I'm doing exclusively for this cohort and potentially for this month and next month. But starting next year, early next year, I might move to the weekly Q&A calls. So, yeah.
Okay, and then with this particular cohort, are you planning on continuing that level of relationship, or is that eventually going to branch out into mainly the whatever you plan on doing in the future?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you said like during this particular cohort, maybe the next cohort, you're doing more of the one-on-one phone calls and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Does that level of interaction eventually is that going to change with those initial cohorts, or is that something where things are going to be just more unified and streamlined along the way in the future?
Sure. So I'd say like right now, based on the clients that I'm working with, I can afford to actually spend so much time to do these one-on-one calls. But as we start getting even more and more students in our community, then I'll start moving into weekly Q&A calls, right?
And have you ever had any clients that did not succeed? And if so, what were their pitfalls along the way?
Okay, that's a good question. So it really depends on how you determine success, right? So I've had, and another thing is not all our clients are willing to share their own progress. Some of them just join our program. They might try a few weeks, and then I tried to reach out to them, but I couldn't reach out to them, you know. So not we don't have all the data to be honest. That being said, I've worked with. I'd say that I'd say that there are those who drop out of the program and eventually using the business fundamentals that we teach them in our own program, they start and launch uh, another online business. It might not be online courses, but they might launch something like an agency, right? So it's really hard to determine how many people actually failed. But when it comes to how many people actually succeed, well, I pride myself on my client results, and especially with the online course business, most of my clients actually become profitable starting week two because week two we already teach you how to get your first few students. And remember, you can build all of this without spending a single dollar for the first 4 weeks. So you're already profitable, you're already cash flow positive, and all you have to do is just reinvest the profits that you actually make into scaling and growing your online course. So one of the things I love about this business model is that there's just not a lot of overhead and not a lot of complexity involved. If it doesn't work, no worries. At most, I might have wasted 1 month of my time. And if it does work, then the opportunities really are endless.
Okay, great. We've had now two or three folks who have asked specifically what is the cost of the course as we speak during this current cohort group?
Okay, sure. So I don't reveal my prices online because
Okay,
I like to actually work. We offer a strategy call where you could sit down, book a call with me, and then we could discuss your situation, and we could see if we're actually a good fit to help. Because first of all, I want to make this really clear: our program isn't for everyone, and it's our program isn't for everyone, and not everyone will get success in our program. That's why we're very selective with the people that we actually help, because we want to ensure that we actually get our client results. And I won't offer you anything if I don't feel like I can actually help you. And the reason we want to do this is we want to keep our we want to keep our client success at an industry high level. And I don't want to work with people that aren't willing to put in the work, that aren't willing to invest in themselves. Because of this, I think that the best way to decide whether we're a good fit to work together is to book a call with me at my page, and you could learn more about what I do and so on and so forth.
I agree. Perfect. Again, we will post the website link in the message section, based on one of the replies, and then you can get in touch with Dr. Zoda via the website. Put in your email address and then your name, and then basically at that point you can schedule a one-on-one session with Dr. Zoda and discuss further potentially what your goals may be, going forward with a potential online business. And how long are these strategy calls?
They're around 30 minutes.
Okay. So 30 minutes, I think that's a good amount of time. And then, at that point, I'm sure if you're a good fit, then, he can, present you with, what the course, the course and also the cost of the course as well. And then any other support that may be needed, any questions they may have beyond that. Does that sound about right?
Yep. And I do want to stress that it's not just a online course, right? It's a fully fledged. You might consider it a coaching program. You
Okay.
Because we are with you every step of the way. You get these weekly consultation calls with me to make this actually happen for you, to improve your chances of success. And so it's not just a course where we give you the content, you watch it at your own pace, and we leave you to fend for yourselves. No, we're with you every step of the way. We hold your hand, we guide you through every single step until you eventually get the results that you want and achieve the financial freedom that you deserve.
Perfect. Any other questions from the group? All right. Well, I think that's about it. Again, Dr. Zoda, I appreciate your time and speaking with us and everything. The group really appreciates it. And we'll definitely post your information. And if anyone's interested, they can certainly get in touch with you through the website.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, and thank you for this opportunity to share this platform. I hope that what I said could inspire just one of you to start looking into an online business and potentially an online course business.
Well, you take care and stay well and safe, especially with everything going on in COVID, okay?
Yep, stay safe.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you again for this opportunity.